Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into Avicenna.
Avicenna.
Now you might already know him as like this medical legend,
Oh, yeah.
and for good reason. But there's so much more to uncover about this guy.
Yeah.
Our source material today is really digs into his life and works,
Mm-hmm.
and it's amazing just how much this guy accomplished. It's like he was a master of,
Everything.
well, yeah, basically everything.
Yeah, he really embodies that idea of the polymath, especially during a time that's known as the Islamic Golden Age.
Oh, wow.
So if you can imagine just this period of incredible intellectual explosion advancements in math, astronomy, philosophy,
Great.
you name it.
Wow.
Avicenna was right there in the thick of it all, contributing to these fields.
So he wasn't just a doctor.
Yeah.
The source makes it sound like he was an expert in a ton of different areas.
Oh, absolutely. Philosophy, astronomy, mathematics, and yes, a physician who was centuries ahead of his time.
Yeah.
But what's really remarkable is that he didn't just dabble, he made groundbreaking contributions to each field.
That's incredible. So where do we even begin with someone like that? The source starts with his philosophy.
Okay.
And I've got to admit, this is where it gets really intriguing.
Yeah.
He had some pretty mind-bending ideas about what it means to exist.
Yeah, his theory of being is definitely a cornerstone of his philosophical work.
Okay.
And Avicenna proposed that there are three fundamental categories of existence:
Okay.
necessary, contingent,
Mm-hmm.
and impossible.
Okay. I think I'm going to need a little help on that one.
Okay, sure.
Necessary existence. What does that even mean?
So think of it like this: something that absolutely has to exist,
Yeah.
something that couldn't possibly not be.
Mm-hmm.
Avicenna believed that this was God.
Okay.
And then you have contingent existence, which applies to things like us, our phones, even the planet.
Yeah.
These things exist, sure,
Right.
but they could have just as easily not existed.
Interesting.
Their existence depends on something else.
So like if certain conditions hadn't been met, Earth might not even be here.
Exactly. It's contingent on other factors.
Okay.
And then impossible existence is a bit more straightforward.
Right.
Think of a square circle.
Yeah.
It just can't be right. It's a contradiction.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
But how do these categories all fit together?
Well, Avicenna argued that all things with contingent existence ultimately rely on a necessary being for their existence.
Okay.
In other words, something had to set the whole chain of existence in motion.
Mm-hmm.
And this idea, my friend, had a massive ripple effect on later thinkers,
Wow.
including folks like Thomas Aquinas,
Oh, wow.
a major figure in Christian philosophy.
So his ideas transcended religious boundaries even way back then.
Absolutely.
That's pretty amazing. But speaking of groundbreaking ideas, the source also mentions this floating man thought experiment.
A floating man.
And this one really caught my attention.
Yeah, the floating man, it's really a testament to Avicenna's genius.
Yeah.
And his fascination with the nature of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine this: you're suspended in a void.
Okay.
No senses, no memories, nothing.
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 Okay.
Would you still be aware of your own existence?
It's like a deep dive into the very core of self-awareness.
Yeah.
What was Avicenna trying to get at with this?
He was exploring this idea that even without any external input stripped down to the bare essence of being,
Right.
there's still this core self that remains, this
All right.
thinking conscious entity.
Interesting.
What's really remarkable is that he was grappling with these questions centuries before Descartes,
Wow.
the philosopher who's often credited with mind-body dualism, this idea that the mind and body are separate.
So Avicenna was already pondering the mind-body connection all those years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's incredible. It really makes you think about the origins of some of the biggest philosophical questions we're still grappling with today.
Absolutely. And speaking of things that are still relevant today,
Oh, yeah.
we can't forget Avicenna's most famous work, the Canon of Medicine.
Right. The Canon of Medicine.
This book was the ultimate medical guide for centuries, both in the Islamic world and in Europe.
I mean, why do you think that was?
Well, for one, it was incredibly thorough.
Yeah.
It basically compiled centuries of medical knowledge,
Okay.
like a medical encyclopedia of the ancient world.
Yeah, like a medical encyclopedia of the ancient world.
But it was also so much more.
Okay.
Avicenna took a holistic approach,
Right.
emphasizing that mental and physical health are intertwined.
Oh, wow.
He stressed the importance of hygiene and preventative care, which is just fascinating considering that germ theory wouldn't be understood for centuries.
Wow.
Talk about being ahead of his time.
It's like he intuitively grasped the principles that we're now just beginning to fully appreciate in modern medicine.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what were some of the specific practices he advocated for in the Canon?
Well, he described over 700 medicinal substances and their uses.
Wow.
But beyond that, he championed clinical trials and observation-based medicine. This wasn't just about blindly following ancient remedies.
Okay.
Avicenna wanted to see proof to test and observe the effectiveness of treatments.
Interesting.
This was a radical idea at the time and really a precursor to the scientific method that we use today.
So on top of everything else, he was a pioneer of evidence-based medicine.
Absolutely.
It's mind-boggling how one person could make such significant contributions to so many different fields.
It really is, and what's even more remarkable is how his influence stretched far beyond his own lifetime and even his own culture.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, how far did his reach actually extend? It's
Yeah.
almost like he planted these intellectual seeds that just kept growing and evolving long after he was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, who exactly was influenced by his work?
Well, his writings really sparked a lot of debate among Islamic philosophers who came after him.
Oh, really?
Thinkers like Al-Ghazali and Averroes
Right.
really grappled with Avicenna's ideas, especially when it came to the relationship between reason and revelation. It's like his work just became this intellectual springboard for future generations.
So he wasn't just like laying down the law.
Like
He's
that.
actually encouraging discussion and debate.
Oh, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't just within the Islamic world, though, right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Christian scholars like Thomas Aquinas were also deeply influenced by Avicenna.
Okay.
Aquinas, who's really a major figure in shaping Christian thought,
Right.
incorporated Avicenna's concept of the necessary being
Okay.
into his own arguments for the existence of God.
Wow.
It really shows how Avicenna's ideas transcended these religious and cultural boundaries.
It really is amazing how these ideas from centuries ago still resonate.
Yeah.
I wonder what Avicenna would make of the world today.
I don't know.
What do you think his take would be on our modern advancements in medicine and technology?
Given his insatiable curiosity and his drive to just push the boundaries of knowledge,
Right.
I imagine he'd be absolutely fascinated by the
Yeah.
progress we've made. Imagine showing him a smartphone
Yeah.
or explaining the internet.
Oh my gosh, he'd be blown away.
Right.
I bet he'd be blown away by things like gene editing or space exploration.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's not all sunshine and roses, right? We've also got some pretty serious challenges in the world today.
Sure.
What do you think he would make of those?
I think he would be keenly aware of the potential pitfalls of progress.
Okay.
Remember his emphasis on the interconnectedness of mind and body?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine he'd be urging us to find a balance between our technological advancements and our own well-being.
Right.
He wouldn't want us to lose sight of that human element
Yeah,
in our pursuit of knowledge and progress.
that's an important point. It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of new discoveries and forget about the ethical implications.
Yeah.
It's like he's reminding us to proceed with caution and wisdom, just as he did in his own time.
Exactly. He was always looking at the bigger picture,
Right.
considering the potential consequences of his work.
Right.
And speaking of his legacy, I think one of the biggest takeaways from our deep dive today
Yeah.
is that Avicenna was so much more
Mm-hmm.
than just a brilliant
Right.
doctor or
Right.
philosopher.
Yeah.
He was a visionary who saw the interconnectedness of knowledge
Right.
and the importance of using it for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
His work is a testament to this idea that knowledge has the power to unite us across cultures and across time.
That's amazing.
It's a timeless message that's as relevant today as it was 1,000 years ago.
I totally agree. It's like he's saying, hey, let's break down the walls between different fields of study and see how they all connect. Let's use our knowledge to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here?
I don't
What are
know.
some of the key insights we can take away from this deep dive into Avicenna's world?
Well, I think one of the most important things to remember
Okay.
is that Avicenna's story reminds us that knowledge knows no boundaries.
Right.
It can transcend time, cultures, even religion, and it has the power to shape the course of history,
Wow.
even centuries after its creation.
That's powerful.
He was a bridge builder connecting different schools of thought,
Mhm.
inspiring generations of thinkers, and,
Yeah.
and in a world that often feels divided.
Right.
That's a pretty powerful message.
It really is. It makes you wonder what other hidden gems of wisdom are out there just waiting to be rediscovered.
Yeah.
Who knows what other thinkers from history might hold the key to solving some of the complex problems we face today.
That's the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
There's always more to learn,
Wow.
more connections to make, more perspectives to consider.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe someday someone will be doing a deep dive into our lives and works,
Oh, wow.
trying to understand the challenges we faced
Yeah.
and the solutions we came up with.
It's a humbling thought,
It is.
but also kind of exciting, don't you think?
Absolutely.
It reminds us that we're all part of this ongoing quest for knowledge.
Yeah.
We're building on the foundations laid by those who came before us, and hopefully we're paving the way for those who come after us.
Exactly.
So what can our listeners do to continue this exploration?
Well,
Should they all go out and try to read the Canon of Medicine? Well, the Canon is a pretty dense read.
yeah,
Maybe not for everyone,
right.
but I think a great starting point would be to, to just think about some of the questions that Avicenna grappled with.
Yeah,
Like, what does it really mean to exist?
right.
How do our minds and bodies connect?
Mm-hmm.
How can we use knowledge to make the world a better place?
Those are great questions.
Yeah.
And, if you could actually sit down with Avicenna himself,
Oh, yeah.
what would you ask him?
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
There's so much I would want to pick his brain about.
I know.
I think I'd be most curious about his process.
Okay.
How did he manage to be so productive across so many different fields?
Mm-hmm.
Was there a specific method to his madness?
Yeah, I love that question. Like, what was his secret sauce? Yeah. That allowed him to make these groundbreaking contributions to medicine, philosophy, astronomy, all these other areas.
Right.
Did he have a specific routine, a way of thinking,
Yeah.
a particular approach to problem solving?
Right. I'd love to get a glimpse inside his mind to understand how he connected the dots between seemingly disparate fields of study.
Right.
Maybe there's something we can learn from his approach
Yeah.
that we can apply to our own lives,
Yeah.
even if we're not aspiring polymaths.
Absolutely. And, even if we can't time travel back to have a chat with Avicenna himself,
Right.
we can still engage with his ideas and let them spark our own curiosity.
Yeah.
We can delve into his writings, explore the historical context of his work, and see how his thinking has really shaped the world we live in today.
It's like we're carrying on his legacy of exploration and discovery,
Right.
even centuries later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what the deep dive is all about.
Exactly.
Inspiring you to keep learning, keep questioning,
Keep diving deep.
and keep pushing the boundaries of your own understanding.
Well said.
So to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
And we'll see you.
We'll see you on our next adventure.